Students, let's do Brahmanath. Om. Om. Santi, Santi, Santi. Swasth.
Good morning students, welcome back to another video lecture from your chapter that is reproduction in organism. Already we are discussing in details about the reproduction processes in the living organisms, that is both in plants, animals and the microorganisms. Then basic difference in sexual and asexual reproduction is that we have already discussed that topic, that is in sexual reproduction only the gamete formation takes place where two parents are involved, but in the asexual reproduction only a single parent is involved and the daughter cell which is produced, it is similar to that of your parent cell, that is it is genetically and phenotypically and genotypically similar to that of your parent cell. That's why we are calling the vegetative or the daughter cell which is produced from the parental cell as a clone of that organism. Okay, we have already discussed different methods of asexual reproduction in previous lectures. That is, one of the type is your budding, sporulation, then next fission we have discussed, then gimel formation, then we have also discussed about the fragmentation process, and these topics are involved, and we have seen that there is formation of a daughter cell which is similar to that of a parent cell, but in sexual reproduction the gametes are formed. Later we will discuss that topic. Then today we will learn what is vegetative reproduction in details. Okay, and vegetative reproduction it is a method of your method of asexual reproduction in which the vegetative plant body or somatic plant body of the organism that will give rise to a new daughter cell. Okay, today we will learn about the vegetative reproduction process. First, we will know it is an important method. Okay, it is a important method of asexual reproduction. And basically vegetative reproduction involves the somatic cell. Okay, somatic cell or vegetative body of parent cell of parent. Clear? And if we discussed already, we know that the somatic cell or vegetative somatic plant body, they have ploidy level is different. You can say that is 2A, and the vegetative part which will give rise to a new plant that will naturally grow and become separated from the parent cell. Okay, if we say next, the daughter cell which is produced from parental cell will detached during its growth. Okay, and when it will detach from the parental cell, when that structure will mature and that will detach from the parental cell and it will be become independent and can grow independently outside the parent cell. Okay, that is when it will be detached from the parental cell, then it will grow independently and have its own mechanism of development, and it will not dependent upon the parent cell. Okay, and basically as the daughter cell is detached from the parental cell, it will not dependent upon the parent cell. Okay, and with most of the angiospermic plant they are showing the vegetative reproduction. If you take the example where the vegetative reproduction is occurring, okay, most of the angiospermic plant, angiosperm, like that is your pineapple, then banana, then next that is your sugar cane. Okay, these are the examples where you can see the vegetative reproduction is taking place. Already you have seen in your eye that you have seen that in pineapple or banana or sugar cane there is no formation of spore. Only their vegetative plant body. It may be stem, it may be some another part. They will involve in the reproduction process and they will detach from the parental cell and it will give rise to a new plant body. Okay, suppose this is your structure of your sugar cane. Okay, this is parent. Then when a single part is removed from the parental cell, that can grow into a complete plant. Okay, so this is the parent cell, and suppose we have taken a segment from their parental cell, then it will remove from the parental cell and it can grow in a independent life. Okay, and basically two factors are needed. Okay, two factors are needed for your vegetative reproduction. What is that two factors? One factor is that most of the vegetative plant body they should have sufficient stored food material. Okay, sufficient stored food material. Okay, stored food material is very much essential for the vegetative reproduction. And second important point is that we will say second factor. What is that second factor? That is presence of growing point, or we call it as your bud. Okay, bud, bud, that is growing point or bud. If you draw the structure of your most of the vegetative reproduction, you have know that what is the structure of bud. Okay, suppose this is a plant. I will draw a plant here. Then you can know how the bud structure is. What is the growing point? Suppose this is a plant here, and these are some leaves. And when we are studying in first year about the hormones, okay, we know that the auxins which are present in the tip, they help in the apical growth or apical dominance of the plant cells. Okay, the buds which are present at the apex, that are known as your apical bud. Okay, and the buds which are present between leaf and stem junction. This is your leaf and this is your stem, which is present in the junction of that plant body. These buds are known as your axillary bud. Okay, axillary bud or lateral bud. Later we will know in details these buds how they are helping in the process of vegetative reproduction. Okay, this is the apical bud which is present at the apex, and at the junction of leaf and stem the axillary bud is present. And we know that for the vegetative reproduction two factors are needed. One factor is it should have sufficient stored food material. Why it needs sufficient food material, sufficient stored food? Because that that stored food it will be used up by the vegetative cell or by the daughter cell, which will grow by using that stored food material. And second one, the presence of growing bud. If we say the stem or leaf or root which is involving in the vegetative reproduction process, then that should have some bud region that will grow into that daughter cell. Okay, clear? Then Mainly there are two types of vegetative reproduction are there. Okay, if we say there are two types, one is your natural method and second one is your, what is the second one? That is artificial method. Okay, artificial method of vegetative reproduction. Natural method is that when in the nature it is occurring. Artificial is that when we are modifying the plant, we are taking some mechanisms or doing some modification in the plant tissue so that it can grow into a new plant. Okay. Note down all these points. Then we will discuss in details about first process, that is your natural method of vegetative propagation. Okay. Note down these points. Okay. Already we have discussed the introduction part before vegetative reproduction. Let us know what is natural method of vegetative reproduction. Okay, as the term represents that is natural, then obviously it is occurring in the nature. Then most of the angiospermic plant here that is involved in the natural method process of vegetative propagation. Okay, most of the angiospermic plant, and if you consider about the angiospermic plant, several parts of that angiospermic plant can be involved in the vegetative reproduction process. That is, one is your, that can be your root, then second that can be your stem, or that can be your leaf. These three parts that are involved in the vegetative propagation process. And usually first we will discuss about the vegetative propagation by root. Okay, we will take an example of that plant where the vegetative propagation occurs, that is your Ipomea batatas plant. Okay, this is a plant where we will see where vegetative propagation occurs by the root structure. Okay, and this plant, usually suppose I will draw the diagram here. This is the diagram of your and we know that a plant having a node region, and this is a node, and this is also a node, and in between there is presence of internode. Okay, and near the node region there is arise of a adventitious root. Okay, this is your adventitious root. Okay, we know that root, but what is that adventitious root? Okay, the root which is not, or which is a non-root tissue. Okay, adventitious root definition is that the root which arises from any non-root tissue. Non-root tissue. What is that non-root tissue? And already we have know that the seed, in the seed that is two part. One is a plumule. Suppose this is a seed structure. Okay, and in the above there is plumule, which will give rise to the shoot, and in the left side there is radicle present. Okay, that will give rise to the root. But other than radicle, okay, radicle which is not formed, usually radicle will form the root, but when the root are formed from the other part of the plant cell, then that is known as your adventitious root. That's why it is known as a non-root tissue. Okay, then this adventitious structure, or this is the adventitious root structure, and that gradually grows. Okay, gradually it grows. Why? Because suppose we will write a point here. This plant having node and internode region, and it bears adventitious root from node region. Here, this is the root region, and this adventitious root will gradually grow and it will swell up. Okay. Then, if you draw this diagram here in this point, the adventitious root will swell up because it will take most of the stored food material from the plant. Okay. As this plant is doing photosynthesis, then most of the stored food material will be stored in this structure. Okay. Then this is known as a root tuber. Root tuber. Why it is called as a tuber? Because it will having most of the stored food material. Clear? That's why it will be swell up, and they will have a adventitious bud. This is adventitious bud region, and that adventitious bud will later on give rise to a new plant of Ipomea batatas. Clear? Usually that stored food material and this root tuber having some bud region and some adventitious bud, and later that adventitious bud it will develop into a new butter plant. How it will develop? By using the stored food material which is present in the root tube. Okay. That usually grow by using the stored food material. Stored food material present inside root tuber. Okay, and usually when this root tuber will grow, then the upper plant it will die. Why it will die? Because due to some unfavorable condition. As you know that a plant it is having a specific life cycle. Suppose it is an annual plant. After one year it will die. The plant body it will die. The vegetative plant body it is by which is present in the aerial part. The aerial stem it will die, and the adventitious root which is present in the soil. Okay, it will remain active in the unfold period, and when the favorable season appears, then that bud region or that root tuber having the adventitious bud that will grow into a complete plant structure of Ipomea batatas, and it will happen only after the favorable season, when favorable season appears. But during unfavorable season, the apical stem or aerial stem it will die, and the root tuber it will develop the structure of adventitious bud, and that adventitious bud it will active when favorable season appears, and it can give rise to a new complete plant of Ipomea batatas. Okay, this is the vegetative propagation by root structure. Most of the examples are Ipomea batatas, and other examples are also present. We can write that example, that is other example where the vegetative propagation occurs by root, that is your Dahlia, DAHI, LA, then that is asparagus, then Diosphoria, okay, and manihot. These are some examples where we find the vegetative propagation by root. And if you consider about the structure of Dahlia, then here this is your stem, and there is presence of fasciculated roots. Okay, this is known as your fasciculated roots, and this is structure of Dahlia. Okay, DAHILA. And here you will find a single stem is present, and at the base of stem a bud is present, and there is presence of more than one root tubers, and that's why it is known as a fasciculated root structure. Okay, then note on these points, then we will learn about this another type of vegetative propagation, that is vegetative propagation by underground stem. Okay. Already we have discussed the vegetative propagation by root. Then let us discuss about the vegetative propagation by underground stem. Okay. And these stems are present usually below the soil level or under the soil, and basically that's why they are known as underground stem. And most of the time you will find this type of underground stem in most herbaceous annual plants. And basically these plants, when they will die off or wither up in unfavorable condition, okay, they will die or wither off in unfavorable condition or unfavorable season, but still their underground stem, it will remain active. Okay, it will remain active during unfavorable season. Here, the underground stem which is developed from the plant or that herbaceous plant which is not survived during unfavorable season, that will die, and they will develop a underground stem under the soil, and that will have most of the stored food material. Most of the stored food material. And this food material will help that underground stem to overcome the unfavorable period. Okay, this will help to overcome unfavorable season. And clearly this stored food material which will help the underground stem in the process of recovering the unfavorable period, that is known as a perenation. Okay, Perenation. Okay, perenation means to overcome the unfavorable season, and that unfavorable season will be overcome by your underground stem which is present below the soil level. And some of the important characteristics are also present in the stem that will define that it is a stem. As we know that suppose we will take some example like ginger, then turmeric, potato tuber. These are some underground stem, but these are not green in structure. But as you will see in the outside, you will see the plants, they are having the greenish part of your stem. But basically these are non-green structures. Then what are the different characteristics of that stem? We can say that this is a stem which is present below the soil level. Okay, some of the important characters of that stem are characters of underground stem. Then we can call that this is a stem. Then what are these characteristics? That is, one is your presence of node and internode. Already you know that node and internode. Then next, presence of apical board and axillary board. Apical board and axillary board. Then next, presence of adventitious root. Presence of adventitious root that are present near the node region. Okay, that are present near node region. Then fourth point is that they are having scaly leaves. And fifth point is that their anatomy is similar to that of a normal stem. Okay, anatomy is similar to stem. Okay, there is presence of node and internode. Remember all these points is a principle of your stem structure, that in a stem you will find a node region and in between node that internode is present, and presence of apical bud and axillary bud. In the previous diagram I have shown that where the apical bud is present and where the axillary bud is present, and apical bud is usually present at the tip, but axillary bud, that is also known as your lateral bud. Okay, axillary bud or call it as your lateral bud, that is present in the junction of your stem and leaf, and presence of adventitious root. As we know that the root which is originated from the non-root tissue, that is known as your adventitious root, and scaly leaves. What are these scaly leaves? Okay, scaly leaves are present near node region. Okay, then what is the function of that scaly leaves? Then scaly leaves will protect the soft tissue. Okay, protect the soft tissue, like your node. Okay, or sorry, like your bud. Okay, near the bud region you will find the scaly leaves are present, or near the bud region. Why it is present? Because it will protect that soft tissue from any injury. Clear? And these are the basic characteristics of your underground stem. And under this, there is 4 types of underground stem we will study, and how they are involved in the vegetative propagation we will know. Okay. Then what are these 4 types? If you know the types of underground stem, there are 4 types. One is your rhizome. First one is your rhizome. Second one is known as your caul. And third one is known as your stem tuber. Fourth one, ball. These 4 types of underground stem we will study in details. Okay. Then you can see I have drawn a diagram, and already you have seen in your home that you are eating the taking as a flavor, that is your ginger. Okay. Then this is your rhizome of ginger. Okay. Then what is the botanical name of ginger? That is your Gingiber officinae. Okay. Botanical name is that Gingiber officinae. Okay. This is the botanical name of ginger, and here we will see, and this is the first one of your basic propagation, that is your rhizome. This is the structure of rhizome, and as we have already discussed that the underground stem will have node and internode. Here you can see these lines are known as a node region. Okay, and this is the node region. These blue lines, these are known as your node. Okay, and here is a node, here it is a node, and in between node the internode region is present. This is internode region, and here you can see these are present of adventitious root. Okay, that will be present in the stem region. These are known as your, these are called as your adventitious root, and this is called as your aerial shoot region. Okay, a part is developed from the bud region. Okay, and these are known as your apical bud. And if you see in details the structure of ginger, this is present near the soil surface. Okay, this is, we will first draw a point that it is having dorsiventral surface. Already you have seen that in the leaf there are 2 surfaces present. The upper surface is known as your dorsal surface, and the lower surface is called as your ventral surface. Similarly, the ginger structure, the dorsal and ventral side, this is your dorsal side, this is your dorsal, and this is your ventral side. Clear? This is your dorsal side, and this one is your ventral side. Dorsal part is present above, and ventral side is present below the rhizome, and this is dissimilar in structure. Okay, that are not equal in size. That's why that are known as your dorsiventral structure. As the dorsal surface and ventral surface, it is differentiated in structure or different in structural pattern. That's why it is dorsiventral in structure. And second important point is that they are having digeotropic movement. Digeotropic movement. What is that? Here you can see, we know that the gravitational force. Okay, it will be downward, but this is the soil surface and the rhizome is going horizontally. Okay, we can write that point. Right, ginger is growing horizontally. That is, it will grow right angle to the gravity. Okay, suppose this is your gravity. Okay, the rhizome is growing like that, and branches of rhizome is like that. Then it will create a right angle, or it will create a 90 degree angle to that of your gravity. That's why that is known as your digeotropic movement. Clear? It is called as your digeotropic. Rhizome growing horizontal, that is growing right angle to the gravity. Clear? Then come to the point. This is the basic structure, and these are the adventitious root, and these are some branches are present. And here you can see in between node and internode, near the node region, this scaly leaf is present. Here there is presence of scaly leaves near the node region, and there is presence of two types of board already I have discussed. That is apical board and axillary board. The apical board, okay. Apical board will give rise aerial shoot, and axillary board, it will grow continuously, and give rise branches. Clear? Here you can see the aerial shoot is developing from the apical board. When the favorable season will end, that aerial shoot will be die. Okay. Then how this ginger will multiply? It will multiply by its axillary board, which are present different region of your ginger. Suppose this is your apical board, and there is presence of large number of axillary boards in the ginger structure. Then when it will overcome the unfavorable condition, and when favorable condition appears, this axillary board will give rise to the complete plant of a ginger. Clear? This is the complete structure of your ginger. Note down these points. Then we will discuss about the column structure and how it deviates from the structure of your rhizome. Okay. Note down these points. Already we have discussed the types of your ginger, how it is growing and how the vegetative propagation occurs by the ginger structure. And let us know that these are not included in the rhizome, and along with your ginger, another important example, that is your turmeric. Okay, that is also included in your rhizome structure or vegetative propagation by rhizome. And the botanical name of your turmeric, it is your Curcuma longa. Okay, this is the botanical name of your turmeric. Then next, that is important type, that is your, next we will do second type, that is your, what is that? That is your corm. Okay, we will know the structure of corm and how it is different from the structure of rhizome. And as rhizome, we have seen that it is growing horizontally on the along the soil surface, but the corm structure, it is very solid, fleshy, and grows vertically. Under the ground. And this is the structure of a corm. Here you can see this is very hard structure and solid structure, and there is presence of large amount of stored food material. Here there is presence of large amount of stored food material. Okay, here you can see this is the structure of a corm, and there is presence of, this is the node region. Okay, in between node there is presence of internode. As we have already discussed that stem will have their basic characteristics feature, that is the presence of node and internode. And here there is presence of a large apical board. Okay, large apical board, and here this is the aerial shoot, and these are adventitious root. Okay, these are the basic features of your column structure. And basically we will see there is presence of a large apical board. Okay, large apical board, and from this apical board the aerial shoot will develop. Okay, aerial shoot will develop, and this aerial shoot will grow in the favorable season, and after favorable season will over, that aerial shoot will die, and this structure, that is your the column structure, will remain active for the unfavorable period. Okay, this column will active during or overcome, it will overcome during unfavorable condition. Okay, and that corn, from this corn, okay, there will be production of baby corn. Okay, baby corn, or we can call that daughter corn. Here you will see there is some branches of baby corn also produced. Okay, these are daughter cells. And when the favorable condition again appears, these corn can again develop into a new plant. Okay, this corn or baby corn having capability of producing a new plant. Okay, if we say most of the example of your structure, here you can see that is your structure of a corn, and example is your crocus. Okay, crocus, then Colocasia, etc. These are two basic examples where you find the column structure. Okay, and next, that is third important point or third important type of underground stem, that is your potato tuber. Third is your stem tuber, we call it as stem tuber. And example it is your potato. If you take the example of stem tuber, that is your potato. And botanical name of potato is your Solanum tuberosum. Solanum tuberosum. And all you have seen that potato structure, and you will see basically this is the structure of a potato, and this is having two end structure. One is your apical end. This portion we call it as your apical end or rose end. Okay, and this is structure of your basal end, or that is called as your heel end. Okay, and usually stem tuber, it is a rounded oblong structure, that arises from the adventitious stem. Okay, arises from the tip of adventitious stem. And suppose this is the structure of a potato tuber or stem tuber. Initially it is very small, but gradually it will grow and it will develop a complete structure by resolving most of the food material. Okay, you can write next one here. That is presence of node and internode, and this is the basic structure of your underground stem. Here you can see these dotted lines of grid structure, these are known as your node region, And initially during the development of your potato tuber, the node and internode region, okay, internode region is very visible, clearly visible, but after maturity, the potato tuber, the internode region is not visible, just node region is visible. And two ends, out of two ends, the apical end will have more buds, or okay, or here there is presence of more buds, but at the basal end that is less bud compared to your apical end, there is less bud is present. Clear? Then next point is that the node region, it will develop into a eye. Okay, the node region, it will develop a structure that is called as your eye. Here you can see, suppose this is a structure of eye, then there is suppose this is structure of eye, then it is having two parts. Okay, eye having two parts. One is known as your scar and another is known as your bud. Okay, scar, it is semi circular. Here you can see, suppose this is your eye structure and this is a semi circular eye, and this is your bud, and these two structures make up the your which structure? Eye structure, and that eye will develop into a, okay, that eye it will develop. I will removing that structure. Okay, this eye will develop into a new plant of potato. Why it will develop into new plant of potato? Because it is having a bud region, and that bud will grow into leafy shoots. Clear? Here you can see the bud region. This is a bud region. This is a leafy shoot that is developed from the bud region. Clear? And this is a semicircular arc, and that represents the arc region, or that is your eye region. And the bud, it will develop into a new plant or new shoot region. And during anthropal season, that is present in the soil, and when favorable condition appears, that bud region it will develop a leafy shoot, and it will develop into a complete plant structure. Clear? And most of the example it is your Solanum tuberosum, and this is the structure of a potato tuber. And here this is the semicircular arc is present, and we will see another important structure is that this semicircular arc, near the semicircular arc there is presence of scaly leaves. Scaly leaves. That scaly leaves will protect the bud from any injury. Clear? And this is the basic structure of your corm and tuber. Note down these points. Then we will discuss about the structure of ball. Okay, the fourth type of vegetative reproduction on our stem, that is a ball structure. Here you can see this is the structure of your ball of onion, and the botanical name of onion is your Allium cepa. Okay, then like that of your another stem, we have already discussed the stem tuber and the rhizome. This is a underground modified stem. Okay, underground modified, having this set, this stem which is highly reduced, in structure. Here you can see this is a disc-shaped stem, disc-shaped, and from the lower portion of the disc-shaped stem there several branches arise. These are known as your several root arises. These are known as your adventitious roots. Here, and these adventitious root will arise from the lower portion. Okay, and from the upper portion there will arise a structure that is known as your scaly leaves. Okay, these are called as your fleshy scaly leaves. Okay, we can write a point from upper part. Scaly leaves arises. And from the lower portion, adventitious root arises. And here you can see, you have already seen in the onion in the home that the outer covering of your onion, it is very thin, okay, and it is very dry, and that is known as the dry portion of dry leaf. It is known as your tunic. Clear? And this tunic, it is called as your old leaf. And in the center there is presence of a apical bud. And each scaly leaf will end into the disc shaped stem, and near the base of each leaf you will find the axillary buds are present. Near the base of leaf and stem, disc shaped stem. These are known as your axillary buds. Clear? And these axillary bud, there is presence of apical bud and axillary bud. From axillary bud, there is arise your daughter bud. The daughter bud arises from the axillary bud. Suppose this is your axillary bud, that is daughter bud arises from the main bud, and that daughter bud along with your apical bud, okay, they will develop into a complete structure of your scale. Okay, they will develop a complete structure of scale, and this is known as your base of scale. Clear? And when this is present inside your soil, and when the favorable condition appears or favorable season appears, we can plant that bulb. Okay, this bulb can give rise to new plant of onion when sowed in soil. Clear? This structure, these are arises from the stem, and that's why as it is present below the soil level, that are known as your underground stem, and these are having two structure, one is your apical bud and axillary bud. The leaf, apical bud, axillary bud, they will join by a step structure and a deep region, and gradually the axillary bud that will develop into daughter bud, and the complete structure, that is a complete ball structure, when it will sowed into the soil, they will give rise a new plant of your onion. Okay, this is the basic type of your different types of your structure, that is your underground stem. First, it is your rhizome. The next second one it is your corm. Third one is your stem tuber, and fourth one, that is your ball structure. And along with your allium cepa, it is known as your tunicated ball. Tunicated. Why it is known as your tunicated ball? Because here you can see the leaves, they are arranged in a concentric manner. Okay, leaves arranged in concentric manner. Now what is the concentric? Because concentric means circular arrangement. Okay, circular arrangement. They are arranged in circular manner. That's why they are known as a tunicated ball. But it is different from the imbricated ball. That is an example of your allium sativum. Okay, allium, that is your garlic. Okay, allium sativum, it is example of your garlic. Already you know that garlic structure, it is imbricated because the ball it is separated. There is not presence of a uniform concentric leaf. Okay, there are presence of large number of fleshy leaves that is separated by a structure. Okay, this is the structure of your ball. Go through these points. In the next class, we will study about the different saw burial stems. Thank you.